Hello, everyone. So I'm not the moderator. You go ahead, Donald. Oh God, you're the moderator.
Yes, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining in to Brewers. Welcome, Bipit, and welcome, Harindra. So glad to have this opportunity. Our motto in our club is we cultivate the passion for lifelong learning. I would like to share the slide for today. Share. Can I share slide?
Yes, I
Okay.
just allowed it.
Okay, hopefully you can see it. So this is our club, Book Brewers, and we have this motto that is cultivating the passion for lifelong learning. So we want to keep learning even after we graduate from school, and a good way to learn is from books. And we want to do it not just because of pressure from outside, but because of passion. So we want to have the passion for lifelong learning. And these are the questions for today. So when you share, please share the title of the book and what it's about. And then why did you decide to read the book? What are your key takeaways from the book? Is there a question that you would like to discuss? And lastly, any question from the audience? I think it's quite simple. The first one is about what, the title of the book, and it's what it's about, and then why, and then the takeaways. And the last two parts are about the question from you and from the audience. Okay, thank you again for tuning in. We are going to start with the first presenter. It will be Pipit. Please, Pipit.
Hello, everyone. So the book I'm going to share today is Move Up: Why Some Cultures Advance While Others Don't. So I'm gonna share the book here. So this is the book. As you can see, the rating is 3.38. Actually going to rate this as 3 as well because I really do not like this book. And I was stuck with it because I went to Karimun Jawa last week and I only had one book with me. So I finished this whole thing. But yes, it was a disappointment. I spent time reading this in a cringe feeling. Uh, then. And I actually suspect maybe people do not finish reading it in a way. Like, here's the thing. This is 210 pages, like the content, the actual content, 210 pages, but then they spend around 70 pages to talk about the footnotes. This is the footnotes right here. And then from these 210 pages, 103 of them, they talk about sex. So, has, in my opinion, this is not why I wanted to read the book, basically, right? I want to know about why certain cultures advance and why others are not. But then the first 103 pages of the book somehow is very suggestive. And I talked to Donald earlier about I usually analyze what is not being written by the book, like what do they imply? Okay. And a lot of the things they imply here actually try to, if your society wants to be advanced, you have to let people be liberated sexually, basically. And a lot of the passage here talk about how, um, what is it? Basically, here, okay, this is pretty tricky. They talk about biology, right? Which is our brain is divided into three, which is the reptilian. Maybe you heard of it before, yeah. The, the drawing. Reptilian brain. Oh yeah. Reptilian, limbic, and cortex, basically. Reptilian brain, limbic, cortex. They said reptilian is because we used to evolve from reptile, right? And then develop slowly and things like that. When they says reptilian always wins. And so basically they encourage people to express themselves without feeling guilty about it, without feeling like no one has a right to tell you no, basically. But the explanation makes me uncomfortable enough because uh, it is suggesting that it is okay to have many different partners. So it doesn't believe in marriage, for example. Yeah. So because reptilian brain always win, even though people are married or something, they won't be able to suppress their reptilian desire or something like that. So if you can imagine reading this book, that wasn't what I expected. Right. So a lot of the and it's very sexist as well, in my opinion, because it talks about how male brain uh tend to look for, say, pleasure, something like that, and then male brain tends to look for security, something like that, and that somehow became a justification for uh you know not supposed to be just have one faithful partner, something like that. Well, for women, it makes sense to have one faithful partner because to them, their ex or crushes or something like that, they wah pokoknya lah gitulah, which is totally I don't know why. And then I can imagine if people genuinely want to learn about why some cultures advance while others don't, they would stop immediately because this is half through the book. This is not even what I was looking for. Okay. However, start from page 104, then it started to make sense. Yeah. So if you are interested to read this book once in a blue moon or something, start read from 107 because in this 107 and above, at least they analyze there are certain cultures that thrive and then try to analyze four S's that make them thrive, basically. So the four S is uh, survival, sex, security, and success, basically. So this is wait. Can I see? Okay, this one divided by four. Then and all of this stem from biological. And so this is with the each description of what they mean as um, security, what they mean as success, things like that. And after for every sex, survival, success, and security, they come up with uh, if a certain culture do like this in this left, they will not advance when it comes to survival. But if they do this one, they will survive or they will move up, basically. For example, if there are now this one makes sense. If human rights are not respected, then survival will go down. Okay, so the culture will also go down. And human rights are respected or promoted, then they will move up. Okay, this makes sense, but nothing new, right? Of course we know. Something like that. Okay. For example, survival. If there is just one truth, then the culture will not survive. It will move down. But if truth is a dialogue in which there's a possibility to change it and people can have different type of truths, for example, then culture will move up. So this is just the example. If you're interested, I can take a photo for you, but this is too many points to talk about. And then the next one is this is the sex part. For example, uh, huh, when virginity is sacred, culture is moving down. This is really lah. This is for real. It's written here. But if virginity is irrelevant, then a certain culture is moving up. So you see how controversial the book is, and this is just one. Now, when sexual life is strongly influenced by religion, then culture will move down. Sexual life is about free and individual choice, then culture will move up. Yeah. Again, this is not my opinion. This is what the book talks about. Next one is about security. Hmm. Um, well, this one makes sense. Police corruption is the norm. Is culture move down? Police corruption is not tolerated, then culture move up. This one makes sense. Uh, environment of risk aversion, afraid of risk, culture move down. But environment of risk taking, culture move up. This one makes sense. Last one, success. Success. Uh, huh. When it said there is life after death, culture will move down. This. But if they say there is life is here and now, culture will move up. Uh, karma is a force which control your life. Culture will move down. And when you say that the only force in your life is your brain, culture will move up. So this is just the example of how uh, controversial the book is. And I was wondering why Richard Dawkins was the one commenting here. He was the one who wrote the book, The God Delusion, right? So I was just like, whatever. But turned out, yeah, this book promotes uh, total freedom, not just in religion, but also even moral values are somehow um, are ignored by this uh, book. Yeah, suggestion. But what I found interesting is in the back there is an index of countries in the world that are moving up in culture. Yeah, can you guess Indonesia is here in what rank among 187 countries in the world? Can you guess Indonesia what number after considering
85,
what as 85, 150,
185.
185 to you, Farindra, and then 150 for Donald. Actually, I was surprised because actually Indonesia is not bad. 47. This is the 47 this year, yeah. This what year is this? What year is this? This is how do I find the year? Gak ada loh yearnya. Oh, 2015. The book was written in 2015, and as of 2015, Indonesia is number 47. So, meaning Indonesia is not as conservative as used to be, at least by comparison to other countries. Okay. So, like again, I rated the book 3 because this is unwelcome information on my part, and I could not find what I was looking for. Uh, yeah, it's teaching us about that thing. All right, so that is my presentation. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Pipit, for presenting the book. Any question from Erindra or Mbak Mita?
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's any elaboration for the comparison that presented in the table, like when the country religion moved up and the culture moved on. I'm wondering if there's any relation between the religion and the afterlife with the corruption and also the marriage
So
something.
many. Yeah, so many. So basically, afterlife was about survival. Yeah. It was spread out, but all of them talk about how religion is very limiting, yeah, but in different ways. So, for example, the one that says, uh, if life after death itu kan in life after death itu in success. Example, and the one religion is tinggi itu in sex. Yun, that's all. Nah, ini yang di life after death. So basically, when there are culture who believe in life after death, they somehow tend to take for granted what is in the world right now. Because they tend to think that whatever that we cannot fix in this world will be fixed in the afterlife. So almost like there's a second chance when in reality, according to this book, there will be no second chance. So you either fix it now or never. So that is the belief system that is implemented in the life after death situation. But in here, the opposite of that is life is here and now. So say for example, someone is doing something wrong on the earth, then we cannot say, oh, God will punish the person in the afterlife. We actually have to punish the person now, here, for the sake of justice, something like that. So that is like for example, they said about uh, drugs dealer, drugs dealer. So in Mexico, it says a lot of places or people, even after drug dealers are getting caught, or they don't feel like, oh, the person must be punished or must be give death sentence or whatever, because they believe that in the afterlife he's gonna pay for it. They're gonna pay for it. Yeah. So there's no high motivation to actually persecute the person in this world. While in the US, just across the border, it has to be punished in this world rather than. So that is the elaboration. This is Tijuana versus San Diego when it comes to dealing with drug dealers. And a lot of people in Mexico are sympathized with drug dealers without even realizing it that these people are the ones uh, who tear their life apart. But a lot of these drug dealers build churches too, for example. So they build churches and they also give donations with the churches. So the people in the churches feel like, oh, I'm being helped by these drug dealers. But in reality, it's they destroy the life of somebody. This is
Similar case to the corruptors. There's here,
corrupt,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Well, there are, like I said, there are some parts that make sense, but others do not. I think this one makes sense. This one about that these people need to be punished in this world. Do not need to wait for the afterlife, for example. But then remember that people believe in the afterlife is not only about punishment. So there are people who believe in the afterlife but also successful in real life. Right. Okay, that is that one. Any other questions?
Yes, Pipit, I
Go
have
ahead,
a
Kak.
question. When you said that the culture moves up, what does that mean? What defines a culture? And
Move.
how can a culture move down as well? I don't understand. I thought culture is including language, arts, and religion, the way you live, etc. How can it move up and move down? It's usually stable. Thank you.
Um, Actually, this book is a mix between biology and social science, in my opinion. So when they talk about move up and move down here, they talk about the survival of the fittest type of situation, like in biology. So there are cultures who got crushed by modernity, basically. So as time progress, there are cultures move down means they will be left behind by uh, the trajectory of time. And then if they move up means they're going to survive along with the modernity or the trajectory of time. So this is what it means as move up and move down. But I disagree to say that culture is constant, Kak Mita. Actually, cultures are really what is it's not disputed. But if you know there are a lot of languages that are dying, right? So there are languages that are dying because the young generation do not want to learn it anymore. They prefer to use international language or the mainstream language. And uh, even now, United Nations are struggling to record the last speakers of a lot of these almost extinct languages because no one can speak it anymore. So they classify it into intangible world heritage, something like that. So a lot of, I don't know, dances or traditional dances, traditional rituals, something like that are not being performed anymore. So that is, uh, culture is not constant. There are things that are replaced or gone. Ada?
Okay, I have a question for Pipit. How does the book explain? I think there are so many counter examples in history, culture thriving and in religious society. Like for example, the Islamic Golden Age, it was
Mm,
in religious society, obviously. And
yeah.
then after the Reformation, there was the scientific revolution, and then the industrial revolution also happened in a religious society because it was prior to Charles Darwin's publication. So
Mm.
after the evolutionary theory, some people doubt religion, but industrial revolution happened before that in a religious British.
Industrial revolution happened after the Renaissance, I
Sorry,
think. After Renaissance.
what? The
Renaissance.
British. What did you say? British.
Before
Renaissance.
Renaissance.
The complete sentence. The
Renaissance.
complete sentence.
I think Renaissance era happened before Industrial Revolution.
Yes, yes. But
Yeah.
industrial revolution happened in England.
Yeah, that's true. But then the Church of England was against Catholic Church of the papacy. So
Yes.
that's the difference between I think I teach this at schools as well. So in Industrial Revolution in England, it's true they were religious, but actually it was a religion of resistance. Because when they set up the English church is because the king was not allowed to divorce, right? Remember I don't know, Henry VIII or something, or James
Yes,
the Third.
yes. But they
Yeah, Henry
believe in
VIII.
the afterlife, right? So all this religious society, they believe in afterlife, and the book
Yeah, that's
is
true. But
against
then,
it.
like, yeah, like I mean, there's it's not like all must be on one complete step. It's a combination. That's why in this book it says it has a formula because it's not like just because a certain country moves up means they make all of these checklists. So it can be a combination. That's why there's no country that is actually perfect, something like that. But oh yeah. However, when it comes to the explanation here, it's not all of them actually make sense. For example, they try to talk about how the concept of sexuality in Brazil is actually better than in Europe, for example, right? So this book actually complemented Brazilian sexual culture. But then how come Brazil is not more advanced than Europe? You get what I mean? So that even doesn't make sense because in this case, uh, they said if a certain culture wants to flourish, then it has to liberate people sexually. But then in this book, it talks about how the best culture to liberate people sexually is actually Brazilian culture. But how come Brazilian is not successful? So even that explanation alone is enough to tackle their idea that if a certain culture wants to move up or advance, they have to liberate people sexually. It's not a must. So, or even it's counterproductive. Okay.
Okay, okay, thank you, Pipit. Any other question from the audience?
No, yeah.
So, Pipit, just one more.
Yeah.
At the end, your conclusion, you said that the culture you believe is supposed to be constant. So, what are the three key ingredients to make sure that culture does not disappear?
Oh,
For
no, no, no. It's
example,
not, should not be constant.
wearing,
Yeah. Okay.
okay, but
So,
it does not disappear, right? Like clothes
yeah,
for me,
hopefully.
like to keep the culture, Indonesian culture, I'm
Mm.
making sure I have at least 50% of my clothing traditional
At least.
clothes.
Mm.
Yeah, something like that.
Mm.
What are the best thing or the easiest things that you believe can help the culture to survive? Thank you.
Okay. So the book has a different opinion to with me. So which one do you ask? According to the book or according to me, Kalita? Which one?
Okay, both of them, according to the
Both
book
of
and
them.
your
Okay.
own opinion, please.
According to the book, when there are traditions that are counterproductive, they should disappear. Simply put. So there's no incentive to preserve certain culture. What's it? Preserve certain culture just because it's your ancestors' tradition. There's no such thing as that one. So according to the book, modernity will, uh, by nature, eliminate cultures which doesn't correspond to the modern era, such as female genital mutilation, for example. According to, well, although it's an ancient tradition, it doesn't mean we have to still continue doing that, right? So according to this book, there's a survival of the fittest in terms of culture as well. So if the culture makes sense and people still think it makes sense after being educated, after being going through the modernity, then that culture deserves to survive. But if they don't deserve to survive, then there should be any effort to preserve it. That's according to the. So totally have no guilt over what if we lose this art of blah blah blah. It's according to the book. When it's time to lose it, then it's time to lose it. Maybe for the better. In my opinion, uh, uh, we we cannot do survival of the fittest 100%. Otherwise, we would be like Hitler, right? According to Hitler, people who are weak do not deserve to live, right? So, and if it's true that survival of the fittest is the best thing in the world, then why do we need to donate people? Why do we even build schools? Let people just learn whatever they want, teach by their own parents. If the parents don't care, that means these kids don't deserve to live or whatever. But we do a lot of things to help weaker part of the society. So I believe that survival of the fittest doesn't apply 100%. When it comes to our culture, for example, then we need to filter which one's actually uh, going to have positive impact or negative. Remember, we have culture that do not say honestly when we see something is wrong in our culture. I think that is bad, for example, right? That's the one that makes corruption flourish in Indonesia. We see something's wrong, we don't have any, we feel sungkan or reluctant or bad feeling to point out that something is wrong. That type of culture I think should be eliminated. But culture such as batik, of course, we have to be proud of it. You know, not to mention it's also profitable and also beautiful, makes a lot of economic output. So I think culture needs to be filtered which one deserves to be promoted and which one deserves to we just let it go. Or even outlaw. Tidak boleh lagi kan. You know tradition of cutting fingers in Papua. You know that. So how cutting fingers in Papua, you guys know that. If their family members died,
Never heard of it.
yeah, it's from the book, from the booknya Arisi Hasale itu kan. So if the immediate family member died, they cut one bone from their finger, one by one. So they are left with a lot of disabled people. This is outlawed by the government now. Okay, but it is their tradition, but we know it's not good, so need to go. Gitu.
Yeah, I heard about the genital mutilations from my neighbor. She's from, I forgot the area, but she told me that her family, her neighbors are still practicing that. And because she's been living in Jakarta, she's really against that idea, and she tries to promote against that idea to her family. It's not easy. So that's why she decided not to go back to her hometown and live in Jakarta, because the pressure to do the genital mutilations for females is really strong.
Right.
And I agree with you. Some culture we need to outlaw. Yeah, I do agree with you.
I have my doctor friend who get request to do genital mutilation, female F female genital mutilation. It was also a huge deal because the the hospital allows it for some reason. Yeah, the hospital allows it, and when patient parents want their kids to get it, then they have to give it. And then my friend, a female doctor, struggled with that, and she lives in Situbondo, like a very uh not saying backwater, but it's very like a conservative.
Okay, thank you, Pipit. We are running out of time because we
Sorry.
have two more presenters. So thank you again for the book. And now we are going to move to the second presenter, Harindra. Are you ready to present now?
Okay, I think I can share a few. I forgot to bring my. I think I'll be a bit early, so yeah, a few points that I will share. Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for for me to present the book. It's actually I have read this book. Uh, I finished last month or last 2 months. The book called "The Art of Thinking Clearly," written by Ralph Belli. Then how I find the book is my friend recommends me this book when I pass something. Uh, I posted an article regarding the sunk cost fallacy. Then my friend recommends me that I can a lot of similar fallacies and a lot of interesting fallacies that we might be facing in our daily life, but not realizing this. So yeah, I just go and find the book. There are 99, around 90 or 99 uh, fallacies that mentioned in the books. Some common cognitive bias, and maybe a lot. Some of them are similar and like the derivative from the another one, something like that. And I think it's quite practical. So the author gives the real world example of the fallacies and then explain to the readers uh, why this can be a fallacy and what's the practical things for us to avoid it. But I think there's no strict rule. I mean, some of the fallacies, the author says that we don't need to take it too much. I mean, don't have to be afraid too much when we are facing some of the fallacies or the thinking error for some point. So yeah, it's the mistakes that we often make, so we don't have to stress about it. Just it will be better if we acknowledge that uh, it is thinking errors. Yeah. I find this book interesting because it's explain the fallacies in quite straightforward we reward example and the explanation following. So yeah, I find it enjoying to read. And I think I wrote some of the interesting policies. Maybe I will share also. Uh, it's the first one is the fallacy. The first thing is the one that makes me want to read it. It's the sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost fallacy is when we continue to invest in some specific project or can be anything, can be relationship, can be project, or can be any activities, even when it's clearly not giving any benefits, but we just continue to do this thing just because we've already invested so much uh, things in it, like so much money or so much time in it. So we just continue to do it, even though it won't give any benefits. For example, the real world example is relationship, and if we already find out that it will not work, it will not going well at the end, but just because we already invest a lot of money, invest a lot of time with a specific person, then we just uh, go on and continue this. The other example is when we are watching a movie in a theater, maybe in the middle of the movie, we find it. I think in this movie, it's not working, it's boring, it's cringy, but just because we've already paid to buy the ticket and we've already we've already go out from our home to go to the theater, we won't we won't walk out from the theater. Yeah, we just continue because just because we've already invested that. Even though there are another option, like we can go out from the cinema and maybe choose another movie or choose another activity that will give us more benefits or entertain us more than the movie. But sometimes or most of the time we choose to sit in and just continue to watch the movie, even though we are not enjoying it. Yeah, that's an interesting example. The other fallacy that I think I found it interesting is the gambler's fallacy. Gambler's fallacy is the belief that if something happens more frequently than we expected, then it it will happen again. It will be most likely to happen again in the future. But in fact, it won't. For example, if in yeah, the things that our country facing the problem now is online gambling. The 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 player only get early win at the early stage, then they most likely to believe that, oh, I can win this easy, then I can win again, I can beat the what is fun that I can always beat the game because I
House.
can, oh yeah, I can beat the house at the first time and it will be easy. I will be able to win again. Even though we are losing, even though they are losing, they also still believing that I can beat it in my first game. So yeah, I will likely to win it again. That's why the fallacy name is the gambler's fallacy. Because after just because we win like times in a row, then we believe that we will win again in the next chance. The other things also interested is the scarcity effect. I think this been used by some marketing in uh, in online shop right now. This is the belief that things are more valuable if they are rare or limited. When when a brand launch something and they say it is limited or it is a rare product, then everyone will go mad about it. Will go stand in line to just to get this limited or rare product. The scarcity effect. The things that are rare or limited will be value more. We will disregard its functionality for us, but just because they say it limited, it will value more. Yeah, I think that are the one that I remember that I put a note on Facebook. There are still a lot of fallacies that interesting also, but I could not remember all of it. So yeah, uh, the conclusion is this book is interesting, and for me, I enjoy to read this book and to read uh, some of the fallacies. Maybe I'll face it, and I've also made the similar mistake to the example without knowing that it is a thinking error, it is a fallacy. That's why I find it interesting. And when I like it, when I read it, it's just like, oh yeah, I've done it before. Oh, this one is familiar. So yeah, that's quite interesting for me. I think
Okay.
that's all that I can share. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Karindra, for sharing the book, The Art of Thinking Clearly. Any question from the audience? From Bipit or Bang?
I have a question. Um, you we know that knowledge about fallacies has been around for a long time, right? It has been written in a lot of books. Why, for some reason, humans are us, all of us, are so vulnerable in the face of policy. We know it doesn't make sense. We know total policy, but we still do not decide on wise decisions and fall into the trap of policy. Does the book talk about what are the factors that make humans ignore fallacy?
I don't think any explanation of that. Just that the reader also mentioned that he sometimes also did the same mistakes, even though he already knew the fallacy. But yeah, I think it's a normal human thing. Yeah, I think it's just something like that. I don't find any logical explanation for this reasonable explanation for this. Yeah, just since the reader also mentioned that he sometimes also did the thinking error, so I conclude that it's a normal human thing, but still better for us to know about it.
Wait, if it's normal for us, should we just go with it? What do we do? Like, do we just okay, it's normal, let's just follow policies?
Now, I think making error without we know that a mistake is different than making error, thinking error, but we know that it's a mistake. I mean, acknowledging that, oh, I've done some thinking errors, or I've done a mistake. I think that's a different thing. At least, we know that we've done a mistake and we can learn from that. Yeah, I think that's the takeaway that I get from the book. At least we acknowledge that fallacy. Yeah,
And be careful next time.
there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that we won't make the same mistake.
Yeah, but then you know what? This book, the first half, totally has nothing to do with title. But then I was about to drop it, right? But as it turned out, the second half talked
Oh,
about it.
yeah.
So it's like
Mm.
I fell into the trap of sunk cost fallacy. but in the end, I got a little bit of benefit from
Mm.
it.
Yeah, yeah. That's a different case. That's an interesting case.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
Pipit and Indra, is just my personal opinion that I think being aware of these policies, it helps us to avoid them. Of course, we will do it anyway, but at least we are aware and we know the consequences, so we can stop keep doing it at the end. So the frequency may be less, or the effect is less. Because, for example, like I laugh so hard sunk cost policy, I've done it in my life. Most of my time, at the younger age. So now I know, oh, it's a human normal thing to do. It's a human policy. So now don't make the same mistake. Don't do the same policy. If you want to make mistakes, choose another policy, I think. So I think I'm going to read this 99. And the 99 is very interesting. Usually the 99 is used by Muslims, 99 divine names, but this is 99 policies. That's interesting for me. Yeah, so I think this book is quite interesting in that perspective. And it makes me, what do you call that, humble. As human, we are made to make mistakes, so it's okay to make mistakes. Thank you.
thank you. I have a question. You have explained some of the fallacies that I think are very common and useful, sunk cost fallacy and Glenn-Glenn's fallacy. And my question is, do you have or do you remember any story from the book that is leaving an impression on you? Maybe the story of someone who fall to a fallacy in the book. So not the name of the fallacy, but some stories.
Some stories. Um, I'll not remember the exact stories actually.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Any other question? Yeah, just my opinion on this. I think, yes, I think knowing the fallacies is very useful for us to know. Do we still tend to make mistakes? And my opinion, why do we still make the mistake? Do we know some of the fallacies is because of overconfident. Overconfident. We think we know the pitfalls and we are sure that we can avoid it. So we are overconfident. I think that is one of the main causes. But at least we know where the pitfalls are by knowing the fallacies. Any other question?
Oh yeah, that also mentioned in the book the overconfidence that humans most of the time uh, uh, when they get successful or when they reach their goal, they always overconfident that it's all because of me myself. Not there are, of course there are a lot of factors like the lucks or the other factor, but most of human always tend to claim that it is because of my efforts. All of this because of my efforts. Yeah, we overconfidence our effort, our uh, skills, something like that. Also in the book.
We credit ourselves too much.
Yeah, we credit ourselves too much.
But when we fail, we blame other people.
Yep, sure.
But when successful, only credit ourselves.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
thank
all.
you, Kandra, for sharing the book.
Thank
Anything
you.
else you want to say?
I think that's all. Should we also share the book that we are going to read, or we are reading?
No, no, no need.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Karindra, for sharing the book, The Art of Thinking Clearly. Now for the next presenter, Mbak Mita, are you ready?
You. So, Indra or Rindra, how should I address your name?
Rindra is okay.
Rindra or Indra?
Rindra or Indra. Yeah. Ferindra, usually they call me Ferindra.
Okay, just full name Rindra. Nice meeting you. And what I'm doing today is I'm going to present the content of my book, which is the third one in spirituality genre. The title is Breath of Love. So I need you to give me your feedback, your input, and also your questions if they're not clear. Let me share with you here. I'm going to use the share screen. Does anybody see the screen clearly
The content.
or not yet? Can I'm
Uh,
screen sharing?
Only black screen for me. Okay, now I
Black,
can see it.
but here participants can see your screen now, but you're not seeing it.
I can see it. Introduction, FLY,
Okay,
etc.
so now
Yes, now
it's
I
really
can.
slow. Yeah, it's really slow. It says low system resource may affect your. So basically, I just want to ask you, what do you think about this content? The first one is about introduction. The second one is about first love yourself. The third one, the power of positive thinking. And then next is sweet surrender, the power of letting go. And what is important to you. Here, I'm going to explain about the wheel of life. I'll show you the pictures of a wheel of life later. Basically, there are 8 aspects of life that we need to consider when we do our day-to-day activities. I remember the first one is about self-growth, self-development, personal development. Second one is about relationship or family. The third one is friendship. The fourth one is work. The sixth one is career. Next one is spirituality or about getting in touch with yourself and the beyond being or the universe or God. And I forgot the other two, but well-being, your health, mentally and physically. And I'll forget about the other one. I'll show you later. And after that, the next chapter is about love, the definition of love, which is giving and forgiving, according to one Sufi, Hazrat Inayat Khan. And after that is divine will, when we need to believe there is a higher power in co-creating with universe, and awareness as a key of living a balanced life, because to manage these 8 aspects of life is not easy. So the first one, we need to be aware first which aspect of life that is important to us. What are we prioritizing today? Or what are we prioritizing for the 3 months ahead, etc. And the next one is about divine grace or the magic of gratitude. How being grateful every day for the little things in life can change our paradigm, our perspective, and makes our life better in quality. And the next one is the conclusion here. The conclusion has several aspects actually. The first one, I concluded that the journey of co-creating with the universe is like running a marathon. So it's slowly but steadily. Because, for example, my parents, they're still alive and they're 80 years old. So I'm 50. I still have 30 years ahead if my life expectancy is similar to my parents. So I cannot live life like I'm running sprint, like always in a hurry. Actually, this is a part that Pipit said, a culture, a Javanese culture that we need to preserve. Pelan-pelan asal kelakson. Actually, this is one of the conclusion that I got. If we want to co-create with the universe, we cannot hurry using the faster is better, the modern value. We need to keep this tradition, this culture. And the second one, I concluded that in life, we need to celebrate life. We know that there is always a problem, the war, the unending conflicts, people being ill. My cousin passed away. My friend's wife passed away at the same time. And then I am sad, or my parents fell down, things like that. However, the key of co-creating with the universe, creating harmony, how we can always go beyond the pain, because according to Sufi Hazrat Inayat Khan, God is suffering, but God is also beyond suffering. So we need to know how to be suffering, and at the same time we need to go beyond suffering. So because we have that, the peace full in any turbulence time, and how we can turn that lemon into lemonade, how we can turn that suffering into something that is feeling better, feeling good. I'll give you an example. Just like Pipit said also, or the Ferindra said about the fallacy, that you started reading a book, but you kept doing it, although in the middle it started to be boring, but at the end, you found a golden nugget from that book. Or you watch a movie, it's a bit boring, but you keep watching it. At the end, you had a great time with your family or friends watching a movie together. And at least you probably had a good popcorn when you were watching that movie. Something like that. So, how we can always turn any lemon into lemonade in our life. And the next one is Kaizen. This is continuous improvement. The reason being, I brought this because recently I was assisting a workshop for conflict management for a Japanese and Korean company, and Kaizen is one of the spiritual concept that the Japanese believe, that every moment, every day, we need to be better. It's also like an Islamic belief. Today has to be better than yesterday. Tomorrow has to be better than today. I think take one day at a time, but always strive to be better. And the next one is don't sweat the small stuff, meaning that something goes wrong at your job, don't sweat it. Don't waste your energy. Yeah, because everything is a small stuff actually. And pick your battle. Only choose uh, areas that really need your focus and energy, that really matters to you. For example, that if as a mother, as a woman, I buy vegetables. The vegetable guys gave me wrong fruits. I can either get disappointed and angry, or I can either just use it if I can still use it and keep buying from him, but tell him next time I want this kind of fruit or this kind of vegetables, not this kind. I just don't want to sweat this small stuff, because I know there are people dying out there who cannot even eat, and who cannot even drink, who cannot even take a breath. So now I don't want to sweat any small stuff, and I'm beginning to be more aware of this. Just forget about it if it's only small stuff. And the last one is also a Javanese philosophy. Giving in is not losing. In fact, it is winning. Also, I learned this in the conflict management workshop that we have been taught about this ideal win-win solution by Stephen Covey in management. However, based on my experience working since I was like 16 years old, and also been in any kind of relationship since I was like probably 16 years old, there is no such thing as win-win if you are in conflict, heated conflicts like the war now between Israel and all the countries, other countries. And there is no win-win when you just meet a person, you don't know that person very well, only have like 3 months relationship. It is not possible. I figure out most of the conflicts, most of the relationships, most of the work situations, and also politics, the best thing that we can get is compromise. And even in the beginning, I would highly suggest to give in, ngalah. Mengalah untuk menang, sing waras ngalah. Kalau kata orang Jawa, I think it's the best thing. And then after time, you can renegotiate the agreement. You can check it again until both sides are happy, meeting the compromise. Because this concept of win-win just discovered by Stephen Covey in 1980s. And before that, the colonization, our elders, their paradigm is always win-lose. So to change the paradigm, to shift it from win-lose to win-win, I think it will take another 50 years at least, or 100 years. Because in my case, as a woman, I personally think that for me to get even to feel that life is fair, it took me almost 13 years to struggle as a single mom. And I don't think it's an easy way to get a win-win. So from now, I would recommend compromise if you can, but at least it's okay to give in because it's not losing. Giving in means it's winning. So that's all from me. Any questions or any feedback are welcome, and I would highly appreciate it.
I have a question, Kak. It's more like the methodology. As you
Okay.
know that this is a,
Slowly, read slowly, please.
oh, okay. So, this is like the lessons you have accumulated over the years, right? Right?
Yes.
How do you put in order which one is the most important and which one is the least important? At least in the order of which one you discuss first over the other. Are you grouping them based on what is it? Is there any system to group or to decide which one
It,
should be
I'm
explained
losing
first
you.
or the other?
Is there any what? What was your question again?
Donald, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. So Pipit is asking the order of the ideas. There are these ideas
What
and
makes, yeah, what are your considerations to put this in order, one after another? Which
I
one is the
think
most
it's
important, the least?
my connections. I cannot hear Donna properly either. You mean the order for the conclusion? Is that what you're asking, Pipit? Can you hear me now? Hello?
yeah, I will add in the chat. So the order
Yeah,
of
I think
ideas, the order of important, the most
I'm
important one.
sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, I have to close it. Yeah. So the order of ideas in order of importance, starting from the most important one. You mean for the conclusion or for the whole book, Pipit?
No, how do you decide? What are the factors?
The factors? I mean, for the order of the content, it's always like the beginning, the main body, and the conclusion. I think that's how I decide. But
Yeah, Kak, that one I know.
uh-huh.
But you know, like this book has a lot of different ideas in philosophies, right? And all of these are content.
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
stories.
what are your, yeah, okay, of course, sorry. What are your considerations to decide which one is the most important should go first? After that, which one? After that, which one? Which one?
Okay. Because my first book is The Miracles in You is looking inside. That's why the first chapter was about self-love, and the power of positive thinking is about looking inside, putting yourself first as the priority. So there are in the power of positive thinking and self-love, I give away a lot of tips and also a lot of personal stories from the other book authors, from my personal stories. For examples, like from Sarah Cruz, the author of book Be the Love, she recommended to do 7 things daily to love yourself, from just simple thing like taking a walk in the nature to drinking a lot of water, things like that. And also journaling, half hour every day, or daily meditation, taking a long hot warm shower. So the first important thing I put is self-love, because the in spirituality, the goal is to know yourself and to love yourself. That's first, because there is a kingdom of God within every one of us. There is a kingdom of God within you. So that's the most important thing. And then after that, I go to the wheels of life, and I don't want to slow down the internet, so I type here. You can Google it, the wheels of life. And what's in the wheels of life? If you see, there are 8 aspects of life that I want the readers to consider in their lives, to be aware, because most of us in these modern cities, we usually put work and job as number one importance, and the other 7 are neglected. So my purpose and my goal as the author is to make aware, hey, you have 7 other aspects of life, don't neglect this. And I have a lot of questionnaires I use, for example, for the intimate relationship, because I studied interpersonal and organizational communications. I used the love questionnaires from the Vito book called the Interpersonal Communications book. There are many questions that, how do you find a partner? What kind of partner is suitable for you? What is the love language of your partner and you? So what is the love needs of you and your partner, for example? So that's in the Wheels of Life. Have you found the Wheel of Life? Either Pipit, Donald, or Ferindra?
Trying.
Yes. There are many types of Wheels of Life, but usually they consist of 8 factors. And then after I talk about every part of this wheel of life one by one. Yeah. So from financial also, yeah, money, yeah, social, family, career, health, etc. That's how I put the importance. For me, at this stage as an author, all the life aspects is equally important, but I go to the next chapter. What is important to you? Then you decide. And that importance can change over the time, people. Maybe at this moment, for me, the most important aspect of life is my personal growth. Because I'm single again, my son, I'm emptiness again. Not again, I'm now in emptiness. I don't have children. He's gone already. He's already working and studying. So that's my stage. Maybe your stage is different. Maybe what's important to you is work. Maybe for Donna, what's important for him is family. For Ferindra, what's important for me is well-being, health. It differs for everybody. So the importance is up to you. I think that's my answer. Is that answering your question, Pipit?
Yes, Kak.
Okay, thank you. Any other feedback? I'm sorry that the connection was bad when I shared the slide, so I didn't get your question clearly.
Yeah,
Any other
just
comments?
just a suggestion, if possible, maybe you can make it an abbreviation, like for example, the book, to make it easier to remember, like the tips. For example, not to stick, the abbreviation is success, so story, and then so on, curiosity, and so on. So it is easier for us to remember, for the readers to remember the framework.
You mean on the cover as the title or in the
The
content
content, in the content.
title? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Donna. I think,
Maybe
yeah,
the
to
keyword,
make it short, yeah.
yeah, the keyword, and then something that is easy to, as a mnemonic for memory.
Okay. That's a good idea. Actually, there is one chapter only that I use that mnemonic device. It's called KISS. Keep it simple, sweetheart. That's one of the chapter, but I will try to find other mnemonic devices or the abbreviation to make my readers and remember easily. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. What
From
about
Ferindra,
Ferindra? Any questions or any input from Ferindra? Oh, he's probably somewhere. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all. Thank you so much for listening and for sharing your questions and feedback. I'll give the control back to our moderator, Donald.
okay, thank you, Anita, for sharing the book. Now, for the last presenter, I will share my book for today, and the title of the book is Same as Ever. Wait, I will copy the link and put it in the chat. Okay, so the title of the book is Same as Ever by Morgan Housel. The title of the book is Same as Ever, and it is about the things that don't change. So usually we focus on change, things that are new, things that need to be updated, but the idea of the book is what are the things that don't change throughout history. And actually at the end of the book, the author is a financial, someone in the finance industry. And he wrote a famous book previously titled Psychology of Money that I haven't read. And he wrote in the last part of the book that he decided years ago to read more history. So more about history and less about forecast for the future. And from that experience, he can distill some things that don't change throughout history. And he thinks that these are the things that we need to pay more attention to. There is a quote from Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos once said once that many people ask him about how things will be in 10 years, for example, or next year. What are the changes? But nobody asks Jeff Bezos, what are the things that will not change in 10 years? And that is the focus of this book. The reason why I decided to read this book is because after reading a few pages at the beginning, I think the book is insightful and also easy to follow because it is in short chapters. Each chapter is like less than 10 pages, I think, most of them. So it's quite easy to follow, and the author is obviously someone who reads a lot because there are so many examples in the book from throughout history that I've never knew before. What are the takeaways from the book? So from the book, there are several takeaways. The main one, yeah, the first one I will read. Change captures our attention because it's surprising and exciting, but the behaviors that never change are history's most powerful lessons because they preview what to expect in the future. And then there are several things that don't change, according to the author. I will read some of them. Your happiness depends on your expectation more than anything else. He quoted Charles Munger, one of the founders or investors in Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's partner. Charlie Munger said that the number one rule for a happy life is low expectation, because your expectation, the higher it is, the more difficult it is for you to be happy. Next, people do not want accuracy, they want certainty. So people do not like to think in probabilities. Actually, in the future, you need to think in terms of probabilities, no certainty, but people want certainty, and therefore they make a lot of mistakes. Another one, the best story wins. And he give example of Yuval Noah Harari, the author of *Sapiens*. Thank you, Verindra. And he give example of Yuval Noah Harari, the author of *Sapiens*. Actually, he doesn't give any new ideas in his book for history, but he tells the story very well, and therefore he is more famous than many historians. And then there is also this principle from history that calm plants the seeds of crazy. So when the economy is stable, people get optimistic. When people get optimistic, they go into debt. When they go into debt, the economy becomes unstable. So when the situation is calm, people become overconfident and they try things beyond the safe boundaries. So that's the cycle throughout history. And then another one, good news comes from compounding, which always takes time, but bad news comes from a loss in confidence or a catastrophic error that can occur in the blink of an eye. So in short, good news often is often not recognized because it happens very slowly with compounding, like technological progress. But bad news happen instantly, so usually it dominates the news. For example, infant mortality goes down, but it takes a long time, many years, and it doesn't capture the headlines. Right, so those are several things. There are several more, but I think that's enough to give a glimpse of the book. So these are about the things that don't change throughout history. And in my opinion, the book is very good, insightful. There are so many stories in the book. It is obvious that the author is a voracious reader because there are so many examples that I've never heard before. Okay, that's all from me. Any question?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
What makes people go in debt after feeling optimistic? Or is it wrong if we, for example, say borrow money to start a business because we feel optimistic about economy? Or what makes these people go in debt basically?
Yeah, actually, that's a shorthand. What the automate is go to excessive debt. So not the normal level of debt, the safe level. There is always the safe level. That they become overconfident and go into excessive debt. And in the case of the last Great Recession in 2008, they make a lot of derivatives. So debt of debt of debt. So it's several level debt. That's what he means. So not just normal level, but the excessive level of debt.
Okay, excessive, yeah. So I assume this is not for being productive. It's not for like making a business, but maybe for spending.
Actually, it can be for investing. So another example, it is not in the book, but I remember from history. In the 1920s, there was this great stock market boom in America, in the US. People borrow money to invest in stock because stock kept rising at the time in the 1920s. And because they borrow a lot of money to invest in stock, in 1929, there was this the stock market fell, and then it was followed with Great Depression. So people become overconfident and they borrow money to invest into stock.
Maybe because a lot of people do it at the same time, so that becomes dangerous. But if it's only few people, it is still a good decision, right? Right?
Well, yeah, that actually links to another timeless principle according to the book. And it is that people live, the incentive for people is they envy other people. So they do not want to get left behind. That is one of the timeless principles. So when they see their neighbor invest in the stock market and become rich, they are something that happened many times in history.
Bandwagon.
Yeah. So when you say,
Bandwagon.
yeah. So when you say some people is fine, unfortunately, the friends of those people will see them and will get involved. Anything else?
I'm finished.
I just want to add to that same question, Donald, about how much debt is a good debt and how much debt is can turn the economy into unstable. Because I do agree with Pipit that for the small businesses, UMKM, we do need capitals. And it is important for us to create that. The thing is about that, I think the financial advice that I learned from all the investors, you have to invest as much as you are willing to lose. So if you know that you will lose 5 million at the end, then you are okay with that, losing 5 million rupiahs, then you can borrow 5 million rupiahs from the bank and use it as the capital for your business. But if you're only willing to lose 100,000, don't borrow 5 million because that means that you are not willing. And also about borrowing money and creating that, I think my mistake was I borrowed from the Sharia bank who was trying to incorporate a conventional credit system into their merger. I'm going to say the name of the bank here, the SE. They used to be separated banks, three banks. BNI Syariah, BRI Syariah, and Bank Mandiri Syariah. After they merged, each bank was trying to sell their strength. And the strength of the BNI is the credit card. Somehow they tried to use this conventional credit card system into the Sharia bank, where the BNI Sharia, the Bank Mandiri Sharia people never heard of this. When the BRI Sharia people never heard of this, and it created this organization in what do you call promoting this to the customers, and I was misinformed, and it led to several problems in the beginning, and it disadvantaged me as a customer, that I expected to lose this much, but because of their disorganization I had to lose more. But now they took care of it after 2 years, and the good thing with the Sharia banking, the what you call that bunga ba interest doesn't keep going rolling up. They stay the same now. So I can pay anytime with the same amount of the money. I don't have to worry about the interest anymore after they fix their problem, the merger of the system. So for me, I learned a big lesson. Even the bank that I trusted for 10 years, when they merge with other banks, when they change, we got to stay away from the new products and everything. So change is dangerous in a way that it creates uncertainty. However, at the end, when the change is managed, it's okay. Now I'm safe. So the lesson is I'm safe because the loss that I was willing to take is still in my control. It's not I'm borrowing from online lending. What is that called now? They have so many online borrowing, online lending money. That one, I will never ever think about borrowing from them because I'm not familiar with the system. But,
Pinjol.
Pinjol, yes. But I've been a Sharia banking customer since Bank Muamalah 2000. So the risk is very low for me. I know the risk. So you have to have a calculated risk, Pipit. Based on your experience, which bank is good for you, what kind of credit is good for you, and you know your income, you know your based on your experience, how stable they are. So that kind of thing is important to you. I learned from my mistake, but I'm still safe. It's a Sharia banking, and I know. And if I die, they have insurance for my debt, so they will take over of the debt. So I'm not so worried. So, but Pinjol, I've heard from my cousin that her niece borrow from Pinjol. The interest rate is crazy. And they're like, when they ask the customer to pay for the debt, they're like threatening, they're doing anything. And that's not good. Yeah, it makes people scared to borrow money for businesses, and that's not gonna happen because small businesses really need capital. We do. We cannot grow without the capital, but we have to. But I was advised by my friend there is a organization that provides low interest, especially for the small businesses. So this loan is only for small businesses, but I don't need to borrow anymore now. I've got sponsors, etc. So I learned from my mistake. I did not know about that before. So make sure that you are willing to lose the money that you are borrowing. That's the key. Yeah. So back to you, Donald. And I'm sorry if I talk too long.
Thank you, Marita. Any other question before we close the meeting? Okay, I think there is no question, so we will close the meeting. Thank you everyone for joining in.
Don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
I will screenshot everyone later because I'm driving right now. I'm just gonna screenshot from the video. So then Perindra, everyone will be in the shot. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pipi. Thank you, Marita. See you all in November. November.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye bye.
Have a nice weekend.
You too, Kak.